Hi everyone, welcome back to Small Engine Repair Tutorial. Today we have this Honda 4-stroke Brushcutter model UMK425 with a GX25 engine. It's not working. And today I'm going to show you how to troubleshoot and repair this unit. And let's get started. First is we need to check for spark. Using T25 torch, we need to remove the screw and remove the cover. We need to remove the spark plug. Okay, connect the spark plug into the high voltage lead and place it against the metal cases of the engine and pull the starter to check for spark. Okay, there's a spark. Okay, to check for compression, I acquired this Tool Pro compression tester with all the different attachment. So we're using this smallest attachment. Okay, with our compression gauge. It's quite very low compression. So it gives us only 25, just only 25 psi. So we really would like to verify with the other unit, which I have a different unit which has a good compression. So we'll get the unit and then we'll verify if this one has a low compression. That's why this one is not working. Okay, here I have another 4-stroke Honda, which is a GX25. This is a UMK422. So let's try this one. That's my neighbor. They're using the mower that I fixed previously, the yellow one. So it also gives me 25.5. So okay, we'll try with this another compression tester. So I have to remove this. So we'll see what the compression looks like. So it gives us around 80 psi. That's a big difference from the 25 psi here. So it seems like this other Tool Pro is not working properly. Oh dear. Okay, so we'll try with the other engine. It's very promising. Okay, so we'll reset that. Okay, this one gives us 95 psi, which is good. But how do we know that this one is working? Okay, that's better. So 95 psi is what we want. But how do we know that this one or this one, which one is working properly? So unless we have the third compression tester to use. Okay, we'll try this new compression tester. So this one gives us 90 psi. So that's proves that this engine is good. Okay, now we proved that the compression is good, and two of my compression tester is working properly, and they are the same unit, the same compression tester. And now the problem is there is new 12 Pro compression detachable compression tester which is not working properly, which is already out of specs. So I'm just wondering if I can return this unit and ask for a replacement. But problem is I purchased this one last year, last year, so I don't have the receipt, original receipt at the moment. Okay, before we conclude, before we rebuild or change or rebuild the carburetor, the last part we're going to check is to check for the fuel system, if the fuel system is working properly. So we'll try to prime this one and see if the fuel is going through that line. Let's try to prime. No, it's not pumping the fuel. You can see that it's not pumping. So that concludes that the problem is the carburetor. So we're going to fully rebuild the carburetor and cut a little bit of the fuel line because it's way too long, and let's see and go from there. Okay, now we have to rebuild the carburetor. Before we rebuild the carburetor, it's best to clean the engine, so it's reduce some dirt from coming in when replacing with new rebuild carburetor, or when you replace the carburetor, it's best to clean the engine. So let's do that. Okay, so we already cleaned the carburetor from outside. So in order to rebuild carburetor, we have to remove all the screws and dismantle the carburetor. So we have to remove this screw here, this screw that holds the control cable assembly, and also the 4 screws that holds the primer base assembly. So one screw here which we don't have access to it. We can undo it, but it hits this part here. So we have to release this idle screw. But we have to remember where this position in reference to the screw. For this one, this part here is in line with in the middle of the screw. So we have to remember that. So undoing the idle screw will allow us to access the screw, undo the screw. So let's put the screw on one side, and we can remove the total assembly, so for cleaning. So another part is the primer base assembly. So these 4 screws here holds the primer base assembly, including the metering assembly, and also including the fuel pump assembly. So 4 screws, then the primer base plate and the primer bulb. This is the primer base assembly with the check valve. So this is the metering diaphragm where the rivet is facing towards the metering lever. So you have to remember the position, otherwise just follow my video to put it back. So this is the metering gasket, and the metering assembly, so I need to remove all the small parts there for cleaning. And this is the fuel pump diaphragm with the fuel pump diaphragm spring. I apologize for that noise. And the fuel pump gasket. And we also need to remove this jet. So the difference between the GX25 and GX35 is only the jet size. So jet, we have to replace the O-ring as well. So this O-ring here is already hardened and deformed. We also need to replace this one. So that's the O-ring. So the difference between the GX25 and the GX35 carburetor is the size of the jet. In the inside hole of the jet. The GX35 is, I think it's a little bit bigger than this one. And that's where the goes to the venturi, the nozzle that goes to the venturi, and we also need to clean this one. So we can remove this manifold O-ring. Pretty much it. And this part here, it's up to you if you don't want to remove this one or leave it as it is, but just take a chance if it works or not. But if you want to make sure that everything works, you need to remove this metering lever, spring, and needle and pin. And also you need to check for you need to check this check valve here if it's working properly. This is a one-way valve for the fuel to go that direction. It doesn't go back on that direction. So the mesh, we can carefully remove that mesh. We'll just carefully remove that mesh. So you see all the dirts on the mesh. Okay, using the smaller size Phillips head, just undo this screw that holds the pin. You don't have to remove the screw all the way, provided that you can release the pin. So you make sure to hold this part here, because there's a spring underneath. Make sure that you don't lose the spring, otherwise it will jump. So gradually lift that with the needle valve and the lever, and you have this spring here. So you can leave that screw there, and we can test the check valve if it's working properly. So just quickly check the check valve, make sure that the carb cleaner doesn't go through the other end. Yeah, which is good. And you have to spray from the tiny hole there. If you can see, the carb cleaner goes through the other end, the other side. Try from under. Yeah, that's fine. Now we clean all the parts. So it's best cleaning solution. I use this Shellite for cleaning. Not too strong for the carby and gasket. and just place the rest. So the rest of the small parts, we just place this one into the tea strainer. So place all the parts inside the tea strainer, including this needle valve, all this, and separate the screw because it might damage the spring. So just let's do this one first. Next is all the screws. So we have to clean the mesh manually. And the last part is so make sure that the jet is not blocked. Just clean this one with carburetor cleaner. Okay, it's time to do the assembly. So we're using a D10 WYB rebuild kit. You can also use key 10 WYB. It's available in our store, or you can buy it or easily buy from online. You can also visit to our online store at www.varietech.com.au. You can also visit our eBay store and just search on eBay for Vtech. This is also available on other website, other store. So okay, first is we need to identify which gasket and kit that we need. So first is the metering diaphragm. So we have the metering diaphragm here. The next one is the metering gasket, fuel pump diaphragm, which is this one, and the fuel pump gasket. Okay, the last one is the O-ring for the jet. Right, you can keep the for spare if you encounter one of these carburetor later on. You have to assemble the jet. Right, so I just place the jet. So now we have to assemble the metering parts first. So we can place the spring here. So just place the needle valve. So we're holding it, just gradually place this one. So next one is you put the mesh back. You can use a drill bit, the back of the drill bit for the size of this one. Possibly you can use number 8 or just use tweezer or any device. Because I'm more experienced with this one, I can just push this one gradually down until it sitting right on the metal stopper at the bottom part. So next part is fuel pump gasket, then the spring for the fuel pump spring, the fuel pump diaphragm, the other half of the carburetor body, this part here. So make sure that it's just sitting right there. Yeah. Next part is to place the metering gasket first. So this hole here is lining up with the hole on the body. This hole here is lining up. You have to place a metering gasket first before the metering diaphragm. So there's this part here, which is the rivet, which should be facing down to the metering lever. Then you have to place the primer base assembly, and the primer pump, the retaining plate, primer pump retaining plate, then 4 screws. Okay. So you can only place this one on one direction, because there's a guide post here. So you have to reset the idle. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So all done. We have to install the carburetor into the engine. Okay, now we have to install the carburetor. So first is the control cable. Right. Connection for the intake. And for the return. Okay, so it pumps the fuel now. It's good. Make sure that you don't forget roaring, because that's very important. Okay. So the plate. screw. So using the M8. This one should run. So all good. Thanks for watching our video repair tutorial for today. I hope you find it useful, and please don't forget to subscribe to our channel, leave a comment if you have any questions. So the engine is working good now, provided that we have to replace the spark plug, and that's all we need to do so to get these machines running back. So thanks for watching, and bye for now.